Let me start off by saying this. Despite all of the issues with Wild Hearts around performance, which I'll get into a little later, I absolutely enjoyed every minute I played from start to finish, and really hope the sour launch doesn't stop this from being a reoccurring IP for EA. Wild Hearts has the foundation to stand toe-to-toe with Monster Hunter, and this is coming from a player that has close to 5,000 hours in the series. With that said though, I'm not going to make endless comparisons with Monster Hunter. I'm going to make Wild Hearts stand on its own two legs and judge it based on how good the foundation it has built is, including the bad, starting with the combat. So Wild Hearts follows a simple premise: hunt giant animals known as kimono within a certain time limit without losing all of your lives, resulting in the hunt being failed. You battle these kimono with a variety of weapons, 8 in total. These range from a giant greatsword known as the Nodachi to what has become one of my favorite weapons I've used in any video game, the Karakuri Staff, a name that is very misleading. The staff is actually 5 weapons in one that you use to do combos to build up a gauge to unleash a devastating attack that does massive damage. I had a blast trying to master the timing of monsters to build this gauge up, and this is actually something that is a theme for all the weapons. You basically need to build up to your big attack one way or another depending on the weapon, and this dance is something that could be very engaging to help keep the combat fresh, even when you're hunting the same kimono for the 20th time. But what mixes up the combat even more outside of the weapons is the ability to create machines on the fly called Karakuri that adds so much depth to the gameplay, almost think Fortnite. From building walls to stop monsters in their tracks to creating a giant cannon to send out a spirit bomb-like blast, but you are limited on what you can build thanks to you being only able to bring 4 different kinds of Karakuri to a hunt that are the building blocks for creating these different machines based on how you stack them, which I really like since it adds a dynamic element to multiplayer. You can have one player who focuses on healing the party while another is focused on dealing damage. Then of course building uses materials called thread that is either earned from destroying various objects, recovered over time from skills, or attacking monsters' weak points that actually allow you to exceed your total thread count by climbing them like it's Shadow of the Colossus. I also can't forget to mention, when you're going solo hunting in Wild Hearts, you are joined by a tiny little companion called Tsukumo. I think I said that right. This guy can be upgraded at your base with cogs that are obtained by finding Tsukumo scattered around the lands. Which, while we are on the subject of camps, you have various sites around the world called dragon pits that can be upgraded that give you access to resources to build and customize camps with Karakuri called Dragon Karakuri. You could also build all over the world with different Karakuris to help you traverse faster. This was such a cool idea since it allows a player to really customize their world of Wild Hearts. So when other players visit or when you visit their worlds, you can see what kind of idea they came up with for traveling around or how they have customized their camps. Outside of that, you have your basic stuff you could expect. As you hunt monsters, you get materials that are used for crafting and upgrading weapons and armor, but they both approach this differently. Weapons are upgraded through a skill tree where you can carry over skills from one weapon to the next, but you can't have an infinite supply of skills on one weapon. So you have to plan out how you want to upgrade your weapon through the trees to optimize your ideal set of skills. Also, if you ever dislike how you upgraded your weapon, for a small fee you can refund all of the materials used in the upgrades and respec your weapon, essentially without making a completely new weapon. Then with armor, you have 3 versions for almost every armor. You have the base armor, you have the human modified version, then you have the kimono modified version. So what makes this cool is the fact that based on how much of each you wear, you have a meter that represents how in tune with one side you are, giving you access to special skills that would otherwise be unusable to you. Then on top of all of that, you have talismans you can equip that give you even more skills to customize your character. I really do love all of these systems since they allow them to stand apart from each other, but still work in unison, allowing you to really customize your hunter. But after all that, you're probably thinking I don't have anything really negative to say about the combat. Well, actually, I most certainly do. The world you fight these kimono in, outside of maybe a few monsters like the final bosses, were not designed with what you're fighting in mind. For example, why am I fighting the Golden Tempest, which is arguably the most aggressive monster in the game, in such a tiny area with objects I can get caught on? Like, this is ridiculous. It's like they designed the world first, then added the monsters later. Like, oh yeah, it's fine, just make something pretty, and now toss them in there, the players will manage. It's no big deal. Don't get me wrong, I love the world and exploring it, but man, can it be a pain to fight in some of these areas for no reason outside of the fact it's just not made to fight in. I really hope this is something they improve on going forward. It's the single biggest issue I have right now with the game that could take away from the excitement when hunting kimonos. Not to mention, as fun as it is to climb on kimonos, it can be very janky at times. So it would be nice to see that smoothed out as well, since it's arguably another core aspect of the gameplay. And just to kind of sprinkle a little bit more on all of that, the general movement of the kimonos is very janky as well. Like, they look very unnatural traveling through this world sometimes, so it'd be nice if they could improve that as well. Also, joining other players in their worlds can be a real terrible experience at times, because one of the most crucial elements of the game, building, has such a big delay in it. It can make it a struggle to build your Karakuri machines in a timely manner. I found myself multiple times taking up time building just so the game would register the commands right. Now, I never had an issue with this when playing solo or having players join me in my world. I assume from what I saw, anyone who was hosting a session didn't have this issue either, but I did see them struggle to build when they joined me. This really sucks, since co-op is so much fun and easily accessible, since at any time you can just open up the map, find a monster, then join a player instantly and start hunting. Plus they have various other options in terms of like settings that you can use to kind of customize, exactly what you want to hunt with other players. But besides that, I haven't even gotten to the other issues I ran into the game performance-wise. In the main town of Minato, which is the central focal point that the entire story centers around, as I progressed to a certain point in the game, the slowdown in the main areas of the town were terrible, which sucks because there is so much to do there. You can accept side quests from characters, raise your rank in the Fisherman Guild, construct new buildings, build Dragon Karakuri to customize your town, raise your overall hunter rank based on how many kimono orbs you earn, which by the way are also used to get upgrades for your various Karakuri machines. But the main thing I'm trying to get at is this is where you spend most of your time outside of hunts. So it really sucks to have these performance issues be this bad. Definitely when I really didn't have any outside of Minato. The only issue I really had was losing sound during a hunt, which came back once I finished the hunt. Strangest glitch I've seen in a game, but I'm getting so sick of almost every game having these issues and having a sour game for so many players who want to enjoy the game, because there are players who have had it far worse than me, especially PC players. Now obviously, like I seem to have to say for almost every video, these performance issues and glitches will be fixed eventually. That could be when I publish this video or months after I do. Either way though, it's just so tiring. But even so, I still love this game, and it's the most fun I've had with a game so far this year. But now moving on from the super negative stuff, the story really surprised me. I didn't expect it to be as good as it was. It's a complete package that does a wonderful job explaining what is going on in the world and why you should care about the Karakuri and kimonos. The cast of characters is very diverse, and even though they all have their own motives, they come together to complement one another really well. I will say though, the cutscenes can be a bit stiff at times. Same with the voice acting, but if you come into Wild Hearts expecting just to be slaying monsters, you might be pleasantly surprised by the story like I was. Also, the final bosses are the best fights in the game, to me anyways. I was not expecting at all what these fights were going to be. I won't show them to you, but they are a visual treat with a few surprises thrown in. Now the question is, what do you do after the story? Well, outside of collecting Tsukumo, capturing critters, doing side quests, raising your hunter rank, building new buildings, and finding documents, you unlock monsters known as volatile kimono. You hunt these kimono to obtain keystones, so you can then hunt even stronger volatile kimono that give unique rewards. This allows you to create the best gear in the game, and is really the main reason to do the endgame. With that said, Wild Hearts is very ambitious for Omega Force's first game into the monster hunting genre. Even though its performance, graphics, and mostly generic monster designs are questionable, the overall core gameplay is unbelievable with some nice quality of life features like reviving teammates during hunts to save lives, the almost endless supply of health items that players can grab while on the run, great controls, menus, and the easy to understand food system for buffs. I could see Wild Hearts lasting a very long time as a franchise, plus you can pet the damn animals. Who doesn't want to pet the cute animals? I mean, come on. Anyways, thanks for watching everyone.